We are live. Welcome to the I believe this is the 8th installation of the Show and Tell show. So while y'all are getting invited to come join along, I'll sit here and wait a little bit and wait for our guests to appear. I'm really excited about today. We've got two I just almost did it. I almost said Waxahachie. We have two Waxahachie folks joining us today. We've got Sam Linguist, who has been studying at Parsons in New York. He'll be coming on first, and then later on we'll have Andy Don Emmons that'll be joining us as well. I'm really excited about both of these guests. Both are extremely talented, extremely intriguing and interesting, in my opinion, and I look forward to a conversation with them. Before we get going, though, while we kind of warm up a little bit, I made mention. I shared a picture of my great-grandparents. And I believe that picture is taken when they were dating. It was before they actually got married. And they would do this activity called Kodaking, where they'd go out and just take pictures. And we have a bin full of old pictures from from the early 1900s on, of all these, of our family and cousins and that sort of thing. But those two pictures that I shared were really interesting because it actually showed them in the moment where they were going out courting, because they were dating and soon to be married, but they were Kodaking. And for a while, I was given this camera, and for a while I believed this to be the camera in that photo, but it's not. One is the size just doesn't add up, but two, this camera that I inherited, I guess, from my great-grandparents wasn't manufactured until 1948. And clearly those pictures are taken from like the late 19 teens to the early 20s. It would have been before they got married, so I'm guessing like right around 1920, 1921. Anyway, this camera isn't the one that's photographed, but it was one of their cameras. This camera was actually started production in 1948. And my great-grandfather was actually killed in a tractor accident in 1950. So this may have possibly been his last camera, the last camera that he had that belonged to him and his wife. And as you can hear, there's something damaged inside there. I've always wanted to open it up and see if I could repair it, but I just keep it on a shelf. And anyway, that's the thing for my own private collection that I wanted to share this week. I just think the old pictures are cool. I'm very tied to the history of my great-grandparents because we actually lived on the same land as they did. They had a farm in Weston, Texas, just kind of northeast of McKinney, that was in our family for generations, and I actually lived on the last 4 acres with my mom. But anyway, that's my show and tell for the day. I want to go ahead and pull in Sam. We're gonna meet with Sam first. Sam graduated from Waxahachie High School last year and has been attending his first year at Parsons. So I'm interested to hear how that. We haven't caught up. He joined the Odd Fellows. You'll kind of hear that common thread as I bring these folks in. But where a lot of these people that I know I've met through Odd Fellowship, and a lot of them through the lodge in Waxahachie. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and bring Sam in, and he has to share, and we'll chat with him for a little bit. Got him invited. Looks like we're connecting.
Oh, hey.
Hey, bud, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good. Now, are you still in New York, or are you back home in Waxahachie now?
I'm back in Waxahachie now. Yeah, I left for spring break thinking I was just going to be gone for about a week or so,
Yeah.
So I only took a weekend bag, and then we went to Utah, then everything, like the world exploded, and then we're back here. So, yeah, I'm back here with all my stuff locked in my dorm still in New York.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, is it literally all your stuff, or are you having to just kind of...
I have some stuff here, and it's pretty nice for all the stuff that I needed for my final projects. I use all recycled materials, and I had all my material here, so I was like, that was
good.
plus. But yeah, most of my passport's still in New York. I gotta get that back, and yeah, it's just a big mess. But
Yeah, yeah. I have kids that are right around your age, a little bit older. They're both attending university up in Toronto,
oh,
and normally they come home for the summer, and we don't know what's going to happen because they're locked up there across the border. So
yeah,
anyway,
it's crazy. I have a friend in Vancouver, and she's like stuck that you can't really get anywhere now. I get,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
we'll see
So
what happens.
the last time I saw you, it was the summer before you were leaving for school.
Mhm.
You were busy. You had your senior project. You had that runway show, I believe, with Sarah Jaffe. Was that right?
No, it was with I wish Sarah Jaffe. Yeah, no, I'm a huge Sarah Jaffe fan. But it was with Julie McCullough, and so
Gotcha. Okay.
I did a show with her in Bishop Arts, and I had my own trunk show at the Web Gallery after that. So that was
Gotcha. So that's the last. I know you went off to Parsons, which that's really cool, man. I didn't know that's where you're headed. And when I heard, wow, you're going to Parsons, I'm like, holy cow, that's really cool.
yeah, it's kind of
So,
random. Waxahachie, yeah, I'm the first person from Waxahachie that I know of to go there, so it's a surprise.
and not a lot of people know Parsons. So
Yeah,
I don't know if do you have an item that you wanted to share for show and tell?
yeah, I do, but I mean, I'm fine with sharing anything.
Okay.
But
So
yeah,
yeah, so we'll get to your item. Oh, those are cool.
it's a big,
Let's chat real quick about Parsons because not a lot of people know what Parsons is. Do you want to kind of give us the skinny on that school in New York?
sure, yeah. Well, so I mean, technically, the university's name is the New School, but that's Parsons is the College of Design within that university, and so Parsons was started in the late hundreds as a design school, and it's always been.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the top fashion design school in the nation, which is nice. And I believe it's the first or the second, maybe, art and design school in the country. That's pretty great. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
right in the middle of New York City, about 9 blocks north of Washington Square, right next to NYU. So it's a
Wow.
right. It's really great spot. A lot of crazy alumni that you can, I guess, look up later. I know Marlon Brando went there, and so that's new school. A lot of fashion design people too. So
Yep. And I just saw the comment here, and I meant to write that down. Happy belated birthday.
thank you. Yeah,
Your friend is a good friend because they reminded us you just had a birthday, so happy birthday.
Justin. Yeah. So yeah, it was about it was today the night. Yeah, 2 days ago. So that was
Yeah.
pretty nice. I was planning on being in New York, with my friends up there, but I guess things change. But oh well.
Yeah. Anyone that had a birthday during this whole epidemic gets to have another one right as soon as we're all back to normal. So yeah, it's
I'm a fan
totally
of that idea. I'm definitely
yeah.
yeah.
And my birthday was March 12th, and I think like this thing was announced March 13th. So
Oh.
I'm definitely doing a do-over.
Yeah,
All right. So how does a kid from Waxahachie, Texas, find Parsons and get accepted? What's your story there?
well, I mean, so I was big in the theater in high school. That was kind of my thing. I did, and kind of on the side, not too many people knew. Only like some of my close friends that I did this fashion thing. Like I'd come home and I'd sew until like 11 p.m. and just something I really really enjoyed. And I was gonna go, probably to UT and do. I was wanting to do environmental science, which I'm still very interested in, and like that field. And then I ended up getting a job at the Web Gallery, and Bruce and Julie are oh my gosh, greatest. And I like told Julie I like doing this on the side and whatever, and I showed her stuff I did. I was like, yeah, I'll probably apply to UT and some Texas schools, which are great, they're amazing, but
Yep.
he was like, no, you need to apply, like you need to go further, like with this. And I was like, oh. And then I was like, okay, yeah, maybe. She was like, no, you need to go farther away for this. So then out on a limb, I applied to Parsons. I got in. I got the largest scholarship that they offered for what I'm doing. So I was like, oh, this is
Wow.
good.
Yeah.
So it's just weird because I didn't really have any scope of that. No one really was doing that around me, and so it was a nice surprise for sure.
Yeah. And what has your first year been like? I would imagine there's some culture shock or something, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I really miss the sky. Every time I come back, I'm like, "What? This is amazing. It's so great." But yeah, for sure, it's different. I realized at my school, I'm really one of the only people from a small town, which is crazy. everyone's from, suburbs or big cities. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of the only people, not only, there's quite a bit from Texas, but like Austin mainly, but I'm
Yep.
one of the few from a small town. And so that was very different. And yeah, I mean, you can't find any good Mexican food really without traveling pretty far in New York.
Yeah. We lived in
Yeah.
Toronto for a little bit, man,
Oh,
and
yeah.
my kids are feeling the same stuff. Yeah, street tacos, but it's just not quite the same. Yeah, when I graduated from high school, and I went to a really small school. I went to Salina High School here in Texas, and there was only 2,000 people in the entire town then. And I moved to Hong Kong right out. So
talking about that, yeah.
The culture shock, I can imagine. I can imagine how that felt, but it's also really exciting, right?
Oh,
yeah. I'm doing this, I'm supposing for you, but are you missing that right now in quarantine? You've gone from like New York, busy, frantic, busy with school, really interesting and unique classmates, and now you're in quarantine. How are you handling that, man?
It's different. I'm definitely very introverted in a way that I like.
Yeah.
Work really helps because there's this kind of anonymity you have, which is amazing, that I really liked. And so I like that. And just and I have some great friends here in Waxahachie, but there's this level of, they're just not in the same field as you are. They're just not as interested in things that you are as like they are. And that's been different. I got to school and I could, talk to some friends about 1960s, like post-minimal stuff. And I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like, this is, blowing my mind. But yeah, so I'm missing that a lot. But yeah, I guess FaceTime's a blessing. So
it is, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Well, you were just about to show something, and I got sidetracked, and I'll have more questions for you. I would love to chat. We could chat for a couple of hours, just because your experience this past year would just totally interest me. But let's see what you brought.
Oh yeah. Well, so I mean, I always say this is my favorite thing I've ever owned, and so it's these are some boots I got for graduation / my birthday last year from my grandparents, and they're made by Rex Klingelhoefer, which is the boot maker that makes a lot of Bruce and Julie's boots, and they're the ones who recommended this for me. And so the figure is Ike Morgan. It's an Ike Morgan George Washington, and so that's he's the whole reason why I ended up liking art in the first place. And I mean, I have this huge Ike Morgan behind me, which was the first piece I worked for at the web gallery. And it's Ike Morgan, George Washington, and that's a drawn like from the painting by Camp Bosworth, who's one of my favorite artists as well. And then made by Rex Klingelhoefer. So it's like a trio of artists that are just, some of my favorites that I'm super blessed.
I am super envious, man. That is an amazing boot. I did see you, I've seen you wear those.
Oh yeah.
Those are really cool. So Ike Morgan, who is this? Who's Ike Morgan?
So Ike Morgan, he's a artist based out of Austin, Texas. And so he's still living, and he's just fantastic. He at one point he's lived in Austin, I'm pretty sure, his whole life, and he was in the Austin State Hospital for an amount of time, and he would just do these paintings and drawings all the time. And one of the guards like took notice and started trading like pack of cigarettes for a painting or drawing, stuff like that. And over time he would just accumulate this huge massive work. And then he finally he got out, and he's living in this apartment with his roommate Rusty, and I got to meet him a few years back, and it was incredible. But yeah, he makes these huge scale, extremely colorful works. This one's of
cool,
the Mona Lisas, which I really love. He loves recreating portraiture, which I love portraiture as well. So that's something I've always really enjoyed. And I originally saw actually his work at one of my dad's really good friends from high school's house in London. So we were in London visiting them, and his name's Jeff McMillan. He's a fantastic artist, and so we were at his house, and over his fireplace he had this amazing portrait of this, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love that. And I'm like 4th grade, and then I came back to Waxahachie and realized that they actually are the main people who sell his work at the web gallery, which was coincidence. And so Yeah, and that's kind of what got me introduced to the web gallery and kept me going there about weekly for a solid, I'd say, like 8 years. And then
How lucky of you to have that right in your town, the web
oh,
gallery, and
thank
mentors like Jeff and Julie and
Julie and Bruce. Yeah.
Bruce, right?
Oh my gosh, they're incredible. Yeah.
They were on last week and they were amazing. They're just such good people.
Oh yeah, they're so great. Yeah, and the dogs, they're just
Yeah.
so great.
All right. So that man, yeah, that is so cool.
Thank you.
So yeah, here you are, this kid from Waxahachie. You are a rare bird in Waxahachie. I'm just going to put that out there. You don't fall in line with the typical Waxahachiean, although it does have a great artist. People are surprised that you get to know Waxahachie. There's this great artist community in Waxahachie.
Yeah, sure.
You're up in Parsons.
Mhm.
You had someone in your Instagram feed that is a really intriguing character, Michelle Labrie.
Oh, yes. Wait. Sorry, you've blocked out for a second. What?
Yeah, yeah. So I said you have someone that's in your Instagram feed that you met
Oh
that's a
yeah.
really intriguing character, Michelle Labrie.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How'd you get to meet her?
Oh, Michelle. Oh yeah, Michelle Lemay.
Lamie. I'm sorry, Labrie. Lamie. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Uh, so I'm a huge Rick Owens fan. Rick Owens is like probably my favorite designer. Right? He's just incredible. So he had this book signing in New York, and so I was like, I'm going. I was like, I have to go. And I like the stuff I wear. If you know Rick Owens, isn't necessarily Rick Owens at all. It's all extremely black, grungy, but it's beautifully made. I think he's the most brilliant designer alive right now. But so I went to the store and I stood in line, and I was thinking there was going to be a huge line. I was second in line, and I was standing there. I got in, and they accidentally let the first about 5 people in line into the VIP section.
Oh.
And so I was like, I'm fine with this. So I went in.
Just play along, right?
Oh, it was incredible. Lots of appetizers. It was like I know Vera Wang was there. The president of L'Oreal Paris was there. Anyone who's like Joey Badass was there. Got to meet him, talk to him for a little
Yeah.
bit, and so yeah, I got it. It was just insane, and I'm just there, and Christine, who's she's a drag queen and a performer, a cabaret star. She's incredible. Paul Swallow is the person who plays Christine, and Paul is a really good friend with Bruce and Julie's. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And so I was like, I have to go say hi. And so I went over and I have these amazing pictures with Christine. And Christine is very close with Rick and Michelle. And so that's how I kind of got to go hang out
Okay.
with him for a while, which was insane. I was saying that that week in New York, I had my 3 favorite designers probably in the world were at the time were Tom Brown, Emily Bodie, and Rick Owens, and I got to meet all 3 of them in that week, and it was insane.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other really interesting any any other interesting meetings or folks that you've ran into
Uh,
while up in school there?
yeah, well, I mean, I told my friends this a lot because I was excited about it. So if they're listening to this, they'll hear this many times. But I got this internship at this company for Emily Bodie called Bodie, Bode. It's a great company, but I got to do a lot of things. Like I got to help with the fitting of Jay-Z's pants. Didn't get. He said he was size 30 waist, and we were like, okay, that's not true. But then so we had to like change them, and like without him knowing, it was an interesting thing. And then like I got to deliver Michelle Obama's shirt, and I didn't get to meet her either, which I was sad. But yeah, and then a lot of crazy stuff with
Yeah.
Criterion Collection. I got to meet David Byrne at the Web Gallery a while
Yeah.
back,
Hmm.
and Kim Hendrickson, who's the head of Criterion Collection, was there, and she invited me, and I got to meet with people at Criterion, and we got to talking about pies and baking pies, and I love baking, so I'm a big pie baker, and they ended up. I ended up talking with the president, and he was talking about how he loved pies, and apparently I out knowledged him in the pie realm. So then I got to
Oh,
go.
good on you. Yeah.
He was like, you know what you need to do is you should come here and teach a pie baking seminar for our employees. And I was like, that sounds amazing. So yeah, I got to go do that. And that was insane. So I got to, because I love Criterion Collection. I've followed them for a long time. And that was really, really insane. I have like the little highlight on my Instagram. You can go check it out if you don't. Yeah,
okay, I definitely will. Yeah. So, well,
Mm-hmm.
man, for those, it looks like you have quite a few friends in here. I want to welcome them. Thank you for stopping in. Sam, I really appreciate you being willing to pop in. This is kind of a new project that started while I was in quarantine.
Yeah,
and
it's a wonderful idea. I love it.
I'm having a blast with it, man. And every week I'm like, who can I invite and who's going to show up? And every week it's been super interesting. But I want to thank you for popping in. I'm really excited to see where you go in the next several years, man. I have a feeling that I'm going to be able to say I knew him when, But yeah. I wish you all the best. What are your plans for Mother's Day tomorrow?
Oh, well, that's I don't know if my mom's watching this. I don't know if I can say.
Okay. I did see some people with similar last names. So.
But I don't know. Well, I know we're doing a picnic, and that's kind of all I can say.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it is nice that you're home for it, and I'm sure she's happy. So.
And it's beautiful spring. That's great too.
Oh man, we were outside all day today. It's been great. So. Well, hey, I always go back and rewatch these after the fact because there's so many things I don't pick up. You have dropped so many names. I'm drinking from the fire hose here. I find it interesting and I learned so much. So I'm going to go back and I actually write down names afterwards. This is going to be interesting to watch this. So go back and learn. And you know what? I saw my son is in here and he's actually he's studying, or he just graduated, just finished fashion photography. So he's going to know a lot of the names as well that you just mentioned, and I'm sure I'll get to chat with him tomorrow.
Sure.
But I really appreciate you coming in, and thank you so much for your time, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All the best, all right?
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Cool, bye. All right. My son is the one that just commented, yeah, I'm so jealous. Man, every week, I say this every week, I just get blown away by our guests. I learn and I find them interesting and they have so many cool things to share and talk about. So I did want to recap last week. If you didn't get a chance to see last week's episode, it is in my bio, the link to YouTube. I download these to YouTube every week. We had, I keep wanting to say the wrong names, but we had Bruce and Julie Webb from the Webb Gallery in Waxahachie join. I spent a lot of time with them. Every time I talk to them, they are just a wealth of knowledge and so interesting and fun to chat with. And then we also had Caleb Bernard and Marie Senna from the Electric Eye Studio in Oak Cliff that joined us as well. And they shared some art pieces. And I actually walked away with a little bit of homework. There was, I kind of chat afterwards with a couple of folks, and Marie introduced, brought up some of the Santa Fe history in it. So I was reading about Santa Fe all week, and now I want to move there so badly. But she brought up a saint, Santa Librada. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Librada. Really interesting saint. Go check it out. Santa Librada, a bearded woman that was crucified. Crazy story. Really interesting. I want to thank them for being on last week. They were I got so many comments afterwards. And actually, I met a couple of people, made some new friends. So I want to give a quick shout out and hello to Christina, if she happens to be watching. She and I got to chatting after the show, and it turns out that she's the one that had the stickers. If you look at my Instagram feed, had the stickers for the Webb Gallery and the Electric Eye Studio. Turns out she's good friends with my sister. So she noticed the video of my nieces, and we got to chat and had a lot in common. And then there was another gentleman that started following me, and I looked at his Instagram, and they've got this really cool bus, and it's got this great name. He's actually going to be a guest next week, Curtis Heath. As we were chatting, turns out that I was familiar with his work and got really excited because one of my favorite songs of all time is one that he actually performed on. So really great guest last week, good guest this week that I'm enjoying, and then I look forward to next week as well. Without further ado, I want to bring on Andy Don. Andy is, again, one of my Oddfellow brothers. I'm going to see if I can find him and get him in here. There you are, Andy. Going to get you added, and we're going to chat for a while. Andy is kind of a jack of all trades, man. You are a musician. You're an artist, a sculptor. You are, I would say, a storyteller. You are a hustler. You just do a lot of things, man. So welcome. I'm glad to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be on here.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Today was a good day. You know, my wife and I, neither one of us are working right now. So Sunday, it's just kind of day in and day out. Saturdays are always a good day. I look forward to this, but getting ready for tomorrow. I did a lot of housework, got the yard done so that my wife has just a super chill day tomorrow. How about you? How's your day going?
Oh, pretty good. You know, we just moved back to Waxahachie. And,
Is it good to be back home?
yeah, it's a little different, but it's wonderful. We got a wonderful place here. I have an infestation of poison ivy in here.
Oh, I was actually, I think I heard about this, man, in the backyard, right?
Yeah, we got 2 acres back here, and there's a lot of that stuff growing everywhere. And I've never had it, and I got some about a month ago.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to eradicate it.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's some specific poisons for poison ivy. We used to have to deal with it all the time. We had a row of bodarks when I was growing up that were, bodarks are just evil and nasty by themselves, but then we were always having to kind of push those back, and then they would get enveloped in poison ivy as well, so kind of a twofer. Anyway, welcome, man. I'm so glad to have you on. For people that don't know you, can you because a lot of people will watch this after the fact as well. Can you introduce yourself real quick?
Sure, I'm Andy Don Emmons. I'm an artist, and I grew up about 30 miles, well, about an hour south of Waxahachie, I guess, in a little town called Fairfield.
Mm-hmm.
And still run a little ranch down there, and lived here in the 90s, and had a store downtown, sold vintage clothing, and I got here through Bruce and Julie.
Okay.
I got a phone call in 1990, somewhere around there. I was living with an old folk artist named Reverend Johnnie Swearingen down in Huntsville, and I get this phone call from this lady wanting to find out if he was living there, if he had anything to sell. I said, he's got paintings on the front porch right now for sale. Y'all come on down. He takes cash. And so I met them. They were all about the same age. They were into folk art. I was into folk art. And, 30 years later, we've been through some pretty amazing adventures together.
Yeah, so you met the Webbs through Reverend Swearingen?
They had known Swearingen. He had moved from Brenham to Huntsville to live with me for a while.
Yep.
I think he moved next door. So he had moved, and they had found out through somebody that he had moved to Huntsville, and I was the connection to him.
Gotcha. Okay. And you have, I think, is he the same gentleman that you, I guess you could say, apprenticed under for a while? You have some old video VCR tape, I think, where he's directing you and doing some painting out in a yard, right? Is that him?
Yeah, that was him. Yeah, after I graduated from Sam Houston State, I started hanging out with him. His wife died, and he wasn't doing too good on it by himself, so he had some friends in Huntsville, and we all moved him over to Huntsville, and he lived there, and that was a pretty wild time for I was like 23 years old, I guess.
Yeah.
86, I think.
Okay.
A real, I never got my master's, but I tell you, that whole stint for about a year and a half, 2 years was pretty much a master's degree in artwork.
Yeah. Would you say, I mean, you're very stylized in your artwork. You can see commonalities between your drawings, your paintings, and your sculpture work. Your sculpture work is pretty, is what you're really known for. And a lot of it's found object, kind of a, I don't mean this in a derogatory way. I would almost call you a junk man. Does that make, yeah? Is that okay? Would that be a fair statement? and your artwork kind of shows that, and it's built out of that. So and then when you draw and when you paint, you can see that kind of that common thread. Was that your style before you met the Reverend, or was it heavily influenced by the Reverend?
I was doing mostly drawings. I was a sculptor major, so I was doing, I was making stuff out of 2x4s and old pieces of wood I found, and cow bones from the ranch, and vines. I'd make into snakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, concrete work, and then I started when I moved to Dallas. I lived for about a year, and then I moved to Waxahachie, and I bought an old truck from my high school band director.
Good segue, because we're going to talk about the art car, right?
So let me start on first. Let me show you why I'm going to show you. This ties all that in.
Okay, cool, great.
So this is a mini art car I did when I lived in Denver. I moved away from Waxahachie in 2004, and I moved to Denver. At that time, I wasn't driving an art car, and so I went to Walmart one day. Remember old Jesse James, that show on TV?
Yep.
Alcohol Garage or something?
Yep.
One of those remote control lowrider cars he got, made. And so I bought one and started painting and gluing stuff all over it. And it was very reminiscent of other art cars I had done back in the 90s. And so yeah, this is it doesn't run no more. I drove it around. And the cats have been crawling on it for years, so it needs some replacement stuff glued back on. But
yep.
It's pretty good shape.
Okay.
So let me put this down. So when I started, so when I moved to Waxahachie, I had this old green truck I bought from my high school band director in Fairfield, Mr. Small. And I started gluing little horses and stuff on the front, and just grew and grew and grew. And I started going to the Houston Art Car Parade, probably around 94 or 95, somewhere around there. And that's a big parade in Houston of art cars.
Okay.
Started back in the 80s with, I believe James Searles was one of the professors down there at Lawndale Art Center, and they decided to do an art car parade in conjunction with the International Fest they used to have in Houston. And it just grew and grew and grew, and I started seeing art cars in the 80s going to Houston. I was living in Huntsville and going to Houston. You'd see art cars everywhere, seeing a lot of shows, music shows and stuff, art shows. And so I started decorating my old truck with gluing stuff on. And I started gluing stuff on with old epoxy mixed together. Man, I went through so many different glues to figure out what.
I was as you were talking about this, I'm like, hot glue wouldn't work. So how are you getting these things to stick? But epoxy makes sense. But you kind of had to.
Kind of stuff. I finally found liquid nails.
Mm.
And so I did liquid nails, and so I drove that truck. I find a picture of it here somewhere. But I drove that over with a '69 Ford truck. And I started gluing toys. I used to go to thrift stores a lot and get toys and stuff out of my old collection as a kid. I had all kinds of stuff on there, glued on there. The summer sun is really tough on plastic. And I learned that, stuff would melt and fall off.
Yeah.
So here's a picture of it in front of the Waxahachie, down here in downtown Waxahachie, probably about 1999.
There you go. Perfect.
But it was covered. It was just covered.
Yeah.
And that was in the 90s, and it was always parked downtown. I lived about 2 blocks on Rogers, same street the lodge is on, but north.
Yep.
And I had a studio downtown Waxahachie, and I had a store, so it was always down there parked. And it was a fun experiment to see the reaction of society.
I know you got some nasty grams, so you got notes written on it every once in a while, but I'm sure you received some love for it as well, right?
Oh, I got all kind of notes. Good and bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I drove that thing for about 10 years, and I was working on a brick floor, laying a brick floor in Ennis, and I almost got one of those hot 100-degree days in July, and I was driving, almost got past, left Ennis, almost got to the racetrack. And I think I blew a head gasket, so I just started smoking. And I coasted in right at the beer store. So I pulled right in, called my buddy up, got me a wrecker come pick it up, and I said, "You can't miss this, that damn truck that's got stuff glued all over it." He just laughed. It sat in my backyard for a while, and I moved to Denver, and I took it to the ranch and put it in the barn down there, and the cows proceeded to start licking everything off of it.
Oh, really?
Putting the plastic off, which I thought was kind of odd. And then I sold it back to the original owner, Mr. Small. Well, he took everything off of it, spent about 10 grand on it, and made it into a classic. So
okay.
I think it's one of the only art cars that has ever been an art car and then returned to a, right off the factory model.
This thing has had several lives. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of odd. Most of them go to some graveyard somewhere or some pasture.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I told him, guys, I want it back so I can do everything back on it.
Do you have any, I know you've got the truck right now, and you're back in Waxahachie. Any thoughts about turning that into an art car at this point?
I don't know. I was in my 20s and 30s. I was a little different back then. Driving an art car, you can't be in a hurry nowhere. You can't be in a hurry at the grocery store. You can't be in a hurry at the gas station. You'll be answering all these questions you hear over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And but then I did that truck, and then I went to a going out of business sale at a Lancaster craft store, and me and Tom Sell went, and there was a room full of rhinestones, and these things were expensive, but they were selling stuff dirt cheap.
Okay.
And I on these rhinestones, and I got thousands of rhinestones. And so at that time, I come from a family that we never get rid of our vehicles or something.
It's same. Yep.
Or thrown out the pasture, So my mom had this old Cadillac from the 90s, and I said, "Hey, I think I can get those rhinestones on this bid. I'll just cover that thing in rhinestones." So I got the bid. I beat two old ladies that wanted to buy all the rhinestones to put on sweatshirts. And they were all mad about this. What are y'all going to do with all those rhinestones? I said, "I'm going to stick them on Cadillac." So I did this Cadillac, and that was in the late 90s. And that thing went everywhere. Here's a picture of it here. 10,000 rhinestones. And this is at the Bob Bullock Museum down in Texas, down in Austin when it first opened, I think in 2000. And that thing, I used to drive that thing all around town.
So, Andy, outside of knowing you, before I knew you, I have seen that car before, and I don't remember where. I probably just saw pictures or something, but I'm familiar with that car. So you had that for a while, and you showed it around?
I had that and went to a lot of shows, and our old band, the Outhouse Moans, tour around in it. Used to go to a lot of art shows, festivals with it, and so yeah, that thing is down at the Freestone County Museum in Fairfield. It's there.
Okay, so it's in a museum now, right? How many hours of work was in that thing?
Well, I tell you, I wanted to do it for the art car parade that year, and I think I started in March and parades in April. And I sent my sketch in, got accepted, and I found out I sat down and did one rose, and it took me 7 hours.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, whoa. I don't remember how many hours and hours and hours and hours. I recruited everybody to come help.
Yeah.
Do phone and do. It was a lot of work, but it was a little different than what my other work was like. So it was, it was more fancy.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a beautiful car. It ended up being just beautiful, man.
I won the art car Daily Driver Award that year, and that year Dusty Hill was one of the judges at the art car parade. He really loved it. And I was like, man, Dizzy Top needs this. I was trying to sell him the car.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was fun. So I've had that Cadillac. I took some of the leftover rhinestones and put it on a Lincoln Continental, the Bluesmobile, and I had that for a while. And I took it out there to the ranch, and finally we scrapped it. But yeah, our car has been a pretty wild ride, to say the least.
No doubt, man. Yep. It's very out there, and it's very, it follows you everywhere, right? It's almost like a rodeo suit, a nudie suit or something. So that's pretty cool. What are you spending your time on these days? What are you working on?
Well, we moving in, unpacking. been to move pretty much 3 households worth of stuff here. And I've been working on junk sculptures in the backyard, you know, making my yard fancy. Sandy's been cooking me some good meals. She's a fantastic cook. And actually, this is funny. Me and Sandy met at the art car parade back in the 90s.
Oh,
Right?
yeah?
Sandy, come here. Tell that story right quick. Yeah, I guess she saw me in my truck or put a sticker on my truck or something.
Hey, Sandy.
I didn't know I was going to be on here.
Well, it's a special guest appearance. I love it. How are you?
No, here, actually, there is a picture of how I met Andy. So I was there that year because my ex-boyfriend was playing the Art Car Ball. It was Dropkick Chihuahuas, and they were like the best band in Houston. And they had just made these decals, and the decals, it was actually it was a drawn picture of me. It was kind of like a Pulp Fiction novel, and it said Dropkick Chihuahuas on it. And so this picture, I don't know if you can see it, but there's Andy, and that was at the Art Car Ball. And the ball was always held on the top of a parking garage in Houston. So he was sitting next to the stage where the band was going to play later and everything. And that's him. He was barefoot, and he had on an Elvis suit, and he had on a hat. And I saw his truck, and his truck had all these stickers and decals on it. So I ran up to the truck, and I slapped a decal on it. And so that's how we met.
There you go. That's awesome, man.
Been pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Another one, if we ever get to drive anywhere.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I was just commenting. We have been quarantined, or after my wife and I think I'm losing track. Well, this is the 8th episode, so it's been 8 weeks that I've been home. I believe my wife's 7 weeks now, and I just filled up my truck for the first time. Put like $35 in it. Normally it costs me $50 or $60 to fill it up. So not spending a lot of money on gasoline these days. Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Over by the summer.
Yeah. I hope so. I'm ready. I'm itching to get out and especially get back up to Lodge, man. I miss Lodge. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, brother, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing stories. I would encourage everybody to go follow Sam's Instagram as well as yours. If you go back to my Instagram, I've linked both of y'all. I really like the paper, the commemorative paper plates you've been doing. I think that's awesome. So I'm looking forward to more of those being produced.
Yeah, well, I ran out of paper, so I had paper plates. I said, well, that's the one back in the 90s, just for a fluke, and it still looks good. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and one thing that really bummed me out about this whole Corona thing, me and Wayne White were supposed to have a show in April. And I was really looking forward to that. We had to postpone that.
Yeah.
But me and him just got a new.
Oh shoot! Yes. Thank you. I write these things down and they're below me here. Let's talk about this book you just did an illustration for.
Yeah, I did one side, and he did one side. He's from Tennessee. I'm from Texas.
The old is that a Jimmy Rogers song? T for Texas. Yep. Okay.
So hopefully we'll have that in October.
Okay. How'd you get connected to do this book?
Well, I met Wayne over the internet, and then he called me up when he was in Denton and wanted to meet me real life, and we hit it off. We're both from small town. He's from Tennessee, I'm from Texas, and we have a lot of same in common. And he really dug my drawings. And,
yep.
They said, "Hey, let's do something." I said, "Sure." So we. It's going to be an ongoing project. It's going to go on for a while. Okay.
And can you show it again? Because I think it's like a flip book, right? One side's Texas and one side's Tennessee.
One side's mine, drawings of mine, and then you flip it over, and then you got some of Wayne's.
That's really cool.
But yeah. So yeah, it's that was kind of a bummer that got postponed. But
yeah.
Hopefully we'll do it for too long.
Yep. Well, Andy, thank you so much for joining me, man. I appreciate you being sporty about it, and I love the stories, man.
These things are very, very, very good for these times. I think people stuck at home want to see something.
You know, it's been a good it's been good for me too. I really appreciate it. I'm learning every time. I learn something. I like I was telling Sam, I watch these after the fact and I learn so much, and then I get excited about the next guest that I have coming on. So thanks again, man. Appreciate it, and we'll be seeing you soon. Okay.
Thanks, man. FLT.
FLT, brother. All right. Again, what a great week. This has been a good one. I really want to thank you all for joining me, for hanging in there. Sam and Andy, both two of Waxahachie's finest. Really good guys, really interesting. These are guys you could sit down and chat with for hours, and they're just an encyclopedia of knowledge. Same thing with all the guests that I've had on previously. Next week, I've already got one of my guests. Typically what happens is I have an idea, or maybe someone's raised their hand and told me that they're interested. But a lot of times I end this on Saturday, and then Sunday I'm reaching out to people, hey, would you be interested? And so far I've had a lot of people that are willing to come on, and every one of them have been vastly interesting. Next week I've got Curtis Heath. I've just met Curtis. I'm familiar with one of the bands that he was in, as I mentioned earlier, but Curtis will be coming on. Might be, I think we're going to be seeing a bus, but he has some personal, some items as well I think he was interested in sharing. But this bus is gorgeous. If you want to go see it on Instagram, I follow it. It's the Wicked Felina bus. The thing's just beautiful. But anyway, he'll be joining us, and I'm going to be looking for other guests as well. If you happen to be watching this now, or if you watch this in the future, if you're interested in joining me, if you think you've got a good story to tell or a fun item to share, I would love to chat with you. Direct message me, and we'll get connected and get you on here. That's how this thing stays interesting, is just by having people raise their hands. And if you don't think it's interesting, direct message me anyway, because I bet I find a way to make it interesting. We've had everything from tucking lizards into bed to dogs chasing people out in Germany. And every one of those have been fun to watch. So, again, thank you for your time. Appreciate you. Y'all stay safe out there. I know we're starting opening up, but we're not out of the woods quite yet. So, as I always say, just take the right precautions. Be good to your neighbors and love on your family. And we'll see y'all next week. Adios.